Happy February. Can you believe this is the month of love? It is amazing how fast time goes, right? We say it all the time, and yet every year it goes faster. I remember my mom saying that, and I didn't really believe it because I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. But now that I am the older mom in the group, y'all, it freaking flies. So this month, our character trait is love, of course, right? It has to be that. And I just wanted to talk with you a little bit about, how do we teach love? Love is a concept that is so abstract, right? I love you. I love my animal. I love, my stuffy. I love my blankie. I love that TV show. I love pizza. I love sushi, whatever. Love is something we say a lot. But for preschoolers, how do we make that concrete? How do we get them to really grasp this big concept? I say it all the time about how we teach our kids, and you guys, this one more so than any other. Love is something really that is taught by action. They're going to learn to love by the way you love. It just is. I mean, listen, there are things we teach our kids by using our words. There are things we can show them with our words. But so much of who our kids become is caught by watching you. This isn't a guilt trip. This isn't to put pressure on you. It's the reality. It's the reality that children are watching, and they are watching the way that you react when they lose their junk. That's when they are really watching. They're watching the way you react when the person pulls out in front of you. They're watching the way you react when you are sad, when your mom dies. The way that you handle everyday moments in life is what they're watching the most. It's interesting. I've been thinking a lot about wisdom lately, and a lot about, I didn't understand wisdom as a young girl, right? I really didn't understand the value because I've always been kind of a strong personality. I know it surprises some of you, but I've always thought I had it together. I knew it. A young girl, I could tackle any problem. I mean, I became an administrator of a school at like 23. So I always was a little confident and cocky. And I didn't realize I was missing a lot of wisdom. I had some knowledge, that degree in child development with some good experience in child development centers, but I didn't have wisdom. And it's interesting because I went off to college and there was this couple, and I've been thinking about them so much, I might even cry. And this couple, they took me in, they loved on me. They let me come to their house and just be. I mean, I would just hang out and play with their kids, and they would let me have dinner with them. And my soul needed that. My soul needed to see what a healthy family unit looked like, how you put one another first, how you cared, how you loved deeply. I learned so much about mothering just from watching. Fast forward to not that long ago, I was having a conversation with this lady that let me do that. And she's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't remember hardly any conversations we had. I don't remember what we talked about or what we did. And I said, oh, I watched, just me watching you. No, I wasn't a 3, 4, 5-year-old like we're talking now. I was definitely an adult, a young college student. But y'all, that's how it is for our preschoolers. They're watching us. The perfect example, right, is a kid with a telephone. I crack up when I see little toddlers with telephones. And they just, hello, even if they can't talk, they're with a telephone. How do they know that? They know that from watching you. They know that from observing what you're doing, and they're mimicking it. Man, what about us love? The way we loved. How do we love? How do we love them? How do we love others? It's how they're going to learn to love. I had a big sign in my house. I need to bring it back and put it up. It's huge. It was made out of pallet boards. I mean, it's massive. Above my fireplace, it said, love anyway. Love anyway. It was a staple in our home for our kids. I wanted them to know that we choose love anyway in this family. We love anyway. Even when I don't like you, even when I'm mad at you, even when you've hurt my feelings, we're to love anyway. And so teaching this abstract concept to preschoolers, really, it's going to be modeled. There are some practical things we can do, and we're going to talk about that. But what I want you to think about first, I want you to think about, how do I show love? And do you know where that starts? How do you show love to yourself? Do your kids see you showing love to yourself? There's such a great debate about this topic, right? I think you got some on there saying, put everybody else first, put your kids first. Moms don't take care of themselves. They're too tired. They're too busy. Okay, I mean, I definitely am. I swing that way. I'm not great at taking care of myself first. I'm great at taking care of other people first. But my kids notice that. They notice that I'm not great at taking care of myself first. How do you take care of yourself? Self-love is huge. I want them to see you taking care of yourself. If that looks like mom is taking a minute and she's going to sit in her room and she's going to read her book, and you may play on the floor, but I'm going to read for 15 minutes. Or, hey, mom is going to take a walk. You're going to stay with your dad, and I'm going to go for a walk for a few minutes, and I'll be back. Or one of my favorites is mom's going away for the weekend by herself, not even with friends. You're going to take a me trip, and you're going to focus on loving yourself. If you are a burned out mom, let me tell you, that is one of the most valuable things you can do to show love, is you go take a trip by yourself and you get some rest and you get some time alone and you go find something you love to do. I remember going to Florida by myself one time, and there was a, little weekend market down by the beach, and I strolled down there and wandered through and talked to some of the local creators. It was fabulous. It was so life-giving. Couldn't wait to get back to my babies. But for those 3 days, I just took care of myself. When your kids see you loving yourself, being confident in that, they're going to give themselves permission. Wouldn't we all want that for our children? Wouldn't we want our children to give love to themselves? And guess what? They're going to model after you. They're going to see, did you give love to yourself? So one of the best ways to model showing love to our children is showing love to ourselves, the way we talk to ourselves, the way we talk about ourselves. You start there. So make sure you're practicing that daily. Another way that we show love is literally our words, saying it, saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And then your actions need to back that up. What does it look like if somebody loves you? What is that? It looks like you being there above everything else, showing up and being present. I don't think anything else says I love you more than a person showing up and being present. I probably have told this story before, but it's so worth telling again. I was a young mom and we had a family member, an aunt and an uncle, and they lived 3 hours away. And that aunt and uncle, for the entire time my children were small until they all graduated high school. So we're talking about 30 years and a lot of children. They showed up. They showed up for ball games. They showed up for graduations. They showed up for 15-minute ballet recitals. They showed up for presentations. They showed up for the holidays. They showed up. And if you were to ask my children who love the most of their extended family, they would say in a heartbeat, Aunt Deborah. Aunt Deborah. More than their grandparents even. Aunt Deborah. Because Aunt Deborah is the one who showed up through and through. Your kids are watching if you show up. Phones, wire phones, so good and so evil all at the same time. You can be with your child physically and not be there emotionally. And you know what? We've got to teach them that love is something that develops emotional intelligence, right? When we teach them about love, we're strengthening that social emotional intelligence for them. We're strengthening empathy for them. We're strengthening compassion. But if we're showing up with our phone in our hand and our focus on our phone, it's real hard to teach that. So there's a difference between showing up physically and showing up emotionally. You've got to show up emotionally too. You've got to be willing to put devices aside, put whatever it is aside, and be present. Be present to watch your children play. It's how you learn them too, is to watch them. You learn their interests, you learn their struggles, you learn their fears, watching their play. You can't do that if you're on your phone because they're over there content. Sometimes just put your phone down and watch your children play. You'll be amazed at what you hear about, what you see. It's so worth it with love. Show up emotionally, not just physically. One of the great things to do this month is we're going to be focusing on love in the curriculum, right? We have so many fun activities. We're writing love notes to our children. Make sure you're doing that. Show that love in different ways. Show them in the written form. And you know what? Most of our preschoolers can't even read, but you can read it to them what you wrote. I love the sticky note activity that we do, that we have you write sticky notes and hide them all over the house. For them, you can draw pictures on them. You can put stickers on them. You can just write words on them. But how fabulous for them to find all these ways that you love them. One of my favorite things I used to do for my kids is I used to write on their mirror in lipstick. I would love to write love notes to them that way. Just big hearts, big things to remind them that I love them. Even though all my kids are grown, I still, for Valentine's Day this year, I will still send each of them a box of chocolate and a love note. I will write them each a handwritten love note because I value them and I love them and I want them to know that is something they can count on with their mom. So think about ways that you can be intentional showing that love every day. Yes, you're like, I make them breakfast. I get them dressed. I wash their clothes. I get the toys. I buy the Christmas presents. You do. You do. And you know what? They notice. They notice that you do. But this month, I want you to be intentional with those acts of love, not just with them. Why don't you come together and say, who in our circle needs some love? Who can we show love to this month? Is it someone random? Is it someone that you see, that you saw that is hurting or they're sick? Everybody's sick right now. Who is someone that needs some flowers or we can bake something for, or we can write a note to, or we can grab dinner and pick it up and drop it off, or we can offer carpool, or we can offer to watch their kids, or what are some ways you can show love? And talk about that with your children. Like, it is okay to say, you know what, Ashley has not been feeling well. You know, Miss Ashley, she's been sick. What can we do to help Miss Ashley feel better? And get them involved. Kids love to be involved. I remember when I was a little girl, my dad loved caring for people. He loved to help families out. And I remember there was a family that was going through a hard time. They had just lost their home in a fire, I think. And we gathered things up. I remember us gathering things and giving it away. And, we've lost homes through fire. So I'm real sensitive to that. And I guess my dad was too. But I remember us gathering stuff for this family and then stopping at the grocery store. And we took all this food over. And I remember delivering it. And I remember the thankfulness on that mom's face. I can still remember that all these years. My dad didn't make a big deal about it. He'd say, hey, we're doing all this. No one probably knew we did it. I hope they didn't. But I knew we did it. And I paid attention. So you and your kids get together and you pay attention. And who could use some acts of service, some love shown their way? What books could you read this month? What are some fun books? Do you have some? It's a great tradition to read some of the same books. I love pulling out holiday books or themed books around the same time every year. I think it's just builds those core memories for our children. What are some fun books you can read? One of the activities this month is making a book about the people you love. So do that. Say, hey, let's write a story about the people we love. It's interesting to get that insight. Making books is probably one of my favorite things to do with kids for that reason. You really gain insight into their world when you start asking those questions. Who do you love? Why do you love them? How do they show you love? It's a great tool to use. Sing songs about love. I love you. You love me. Oh, Barney. Sing songs about love. Be intentional. It's the way they're going to learn it. It's amazing. You're going to look back and go, how did I teach them to love? You taught them in so many different ways. You acknowledged it. You were intentional about it. You played games even. What is a love game you could play? That'd be a fun one. I don't even know. Something you could do. Again, baking is probably one of the favorite things we do in our home to show love to other people. We do that. Also, I want you to talk about any chance you get to bring up difficult subjects. If you have something tough going on, my kids had to learn about loss early, not at the preschool stage, but some of them were much older when their sister got taken away. We were in the process of adopting our Hunter for 3 years. 3 years. And her family would never sign their adoption papers. And finally, a family member, without any warning, took her from us. And while I was thrilled she was with family, we were her family too. And that was a loss. And that was really hard for my kids because they loved her. We talk about when you love someone, how when they're gone, that's such a deep loss. And of course, they lost their brother not long after my son Joshua died. So they had to deal with that loss as well. We want to talk about those things. You guys, if I could tell you one thing about parenting, other than they're watching you, is to teach them to talk it out. Teach them to take what's in here and be able to vocalize it and verbalize it. It is one of the most powerful gifts we give our children. I see you're sad. Can you tell me about that? I see you're angry. Can you tell me about that? Oh, I see you're feeling very excited. Tell me about that. And it's no big deal. They just grow up thinking we talk about everything. We just say it. We say how we feel. We don't stuff it in. Because adults who are stuffers are often adults who have major interpersonal relationship problems. We don't want that. We want kids who love and can express their love and can talk about every emotion when they're sad and happy and excited and grieving and angry. But so much of that shows them love. As you think about this month, in the month of love, I want you to be intentional. I want you to ask yourself, how can I be love to my children? And then how can I help them understand this abstract concept by the way I love them and by the way we together love others? Love anyway. I hope you have a great week, a great month, and it's full of love. Thanks for listening.